Howdy guys, lovely to see you all again. Thank you for being patient. Today we're going to be looking at the epic solo to the outro of Fade to Black. Let's take a look. Okay, so let's have a look at the first section. I'm going to slide into 9 of the 4th string, and then I'm going to hit it 2 more times when I get there. Then I go into this phrase. So I'm going to have a leading note from 7 of the 3rd string. Then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do 4 bends from 9 of the 3rd string, and then I'm going to pull off back to the 7. And then return to 9 as just a regular note. So this is what we should have thus far. Then it works into this phrase. Alright, so what I've got at the start of that, 2 notes. I'm playing 9 of the 3rd into 7 of the 2nd, and then I want to do a triplet going 8, 7 on the 2nd to 7 of the 3rd. So it goes. Now I do a very similar thing, still with a bit of a triplet feel, but I've got a slight grace note hammer on from 7 to 8 on the 2nd string, and then it goes back to that rolling flat finger. So I'm going to do those 2 triplets back to back with a cheeky grace note hammer. It was very subtly in there, and then I just want to do a regular triplet again. At the end of that, it's going to slide from 8 to 10 on the 2nd string, and that's going to have a bit of a grace note vibe as well. So we're going to go. Hopefully that's making sense. We're working to this phrase. So I play 8, 10 on the 2nd string, and then hit 10 again and do a grace slide to 12. From that point, I'm going to play 10, 8 as well. So I'm going to kind of reverse my steps there. Next thing I do, cheeky grace hammer from 8 to 10. Then it goes 8, 7. And then the last 2 things I've got is just straight triplets, no grace notes here. I'm going to play 8, 7 on the 2nd string and jump to 9 of the 3rd. Then jump back to 7 of the 2nd string and then play 9, 7 on the 3rd. And that's going to sound like this. Let's go from the slide now. We'll put that together from the second half, and then we'll put it all together from the first half. Hopefully that's all making sense. Let's go right back to the start of the section, play it at a gentlemanly pace, and then again, even slower with some tabs. One more time with some tabs. Alright guys, second section, let's have a look at the opening lick. Okay, so we're working around the B minor pentatonic position 1, nice and simple. I'm going to start off by playing 7 on the 4th string and then hitting 9 3 times. Then I work into this phrase. Let's slow that down. I'm going to play 7, 9 on the 3rd string and then hit 9 again into a bend. Then I bring that down, pull it off back to the 7, and then play 9 again, sort of go. Okay, so this is what we should have thus far from the start. Okay, from that point I was jumping back to 7 of the 3rd string and then playing 9 of the 4th. And then from that point I'm going to play 7, 9 on the 3rd. You can add like a slight quarter tone bend or a cheeky vibrato there. I don't mind, but it just needs to have a bit of sass. This is what we should have from the start. Okay, then we work into this next phrase. So what I want to do is I want to divide this into chunks. The first chunk is going to be a 5-note group, and then we're going to have 6 4-note groups which are identical. So it all sounds quite similar, but there are some slight subtleties that I'd like to discuss. So we're going to start off with the 5-note group. Once again, keep in mind that we're in the B minor pentatonic position 1. So I want to do a bend from 9 of the 3rd string, and I'm going to have a flat finger on my pointer finger covering 7 of the 2nd and the 1st string, or we're going to play those notes separately. And then from that point, I've got to pull off from 10 to 7 on the 2nd string. That's going to be my 5-note group. Okay, now do a very similar phrase, but we're only going to have 4 notes on the 2nd phrase. So what's different about this group is I'm skipping the 2nd string. So I'm doing the bend on 9 of the 3rd, jumping to 7 of the 1st string, so skipping that 2nd, and then doing a pull off from 10 to 7. And that's only going to be 4 notes. So we're going to have a 5-note group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do that 4-note group 6 times. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At the end of that sixth of that sort of 4-note group, I've just got 2 notes that leads us into that little part there. So I just had a single bend on 9 of the 3rd and 7 of the 1st string, and that's it. So we've got a 5-note group, 6 4-note groups, and then the 2-note group. So I'll play that slowly, and I'll add gaps in so you know what the hell I'm talking about. Hopefully that's making sense. Then I work into this phrase. So these 2 bars that I'm about to show you are identical. I'm going to do a pull off from 10 to 7 of the 1st string, then jump to 10 on the 2nd string, and then back to 7 of the 1st. That's going to sound like this. I'm going to do a very similar phrase, but I'm going to start off with 2 pull-offs from 10 to 7. So I've got a 4-note group and a 6-note group. And I'm just going to repeat that 6-note group. So we're going to do 4 notes, 6 notes, and 6 notes. So we've got a single pull-off and then 2 double pull-offs. Now if I do those back to back for 2 bars, got a pretty sexy sound to it. Let's have a look at what we've got thus far. There's one more chunk at the end of this section, but let's see what we've got so far. Hopefully that's all making sense. And then we work into this final phrase, which has got the bends and the triplet run. Let's slow that down. I'm going to do 2 bends from 10 of the 1st string. And then at this point, I'm going to play 10, 8, 7, and then I'm going to play 8, 7 again, and then jump to 10 of the 2nd string. So it's going to sound like this. The next thing I do, so just working down the scale in a predictable sort of diatonic fashion in triplets. The next triplet I'm going to play is 7 of the 1st string, and then 10 to 8 on the 2nd. And then 10, 8, 7 on the 2nd. So it's going to go like this. Let's go back to those 2 bends at the start and have a look at the triplets we've got thus far. There's 2 more. So what I've got here is I'm going to play 8, 7 on the 2nd string, 9 of the 3rd. And then I'm going to play 7 of the 2nd string and then 9, 7 on the 3rd. So let's go from those 2 bends at the start of that phrase. Alright, so that's all of section 2. Let's try that again at a gentleman's pace and then again even slower with some tabs. One more time with some tabs. All right, section 3. Let's have a look at the opening lick of this. All right, so what I've got at the start of that, I'm going to play 7, 9, 9 on the 4th string. Then I work into this phrase. So it's relatively diatonic. There's not any weird intervallic skips in it. I'm going to do a cheeky pull off from 8 to 7 on the 2nd string and then jump to 9 of the 3rd. And then I just work up the scale like this. So I do a straight ascend and then a straight descend. So I'm going to play 8, 7, 10 on the 2nd and then play 7 of the 1st. And then from that point, I'm going to reverse that by playing 10, 8, 7 on the 2nd and then 9, 7 on the 3rd. So all together now from the start. And then I go into this. So it's a very similar idea, it's just going to have a slightly different ending. So we're going to start off with the same start, 7, 9, 9, same pull-off lick, same leading up 4 notes, 7, 8, 10 on the 2nd and 7 of the 1st. This time though, I'm going to add 8 to 7 on the 1st string. And then I've got 2 leading notes into another triplet run, which is 7, 8 again. So this is what we should have from the start of the section. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is very similar triplets to what we had last time. You'll notice that I'm ending a lot lower and then it gets a little bit more adventurous. So we've just had the leading notes. We're going to borrow pretty much all of the triplets we had at the end of the last section. So the first 3 notes are going to be 10, 8, 7 on the 1st string. I play 8, 7 again and then jump to 10 of the 2nd. Then from 7 of the 1st, I want to play that again and then 10, 8 on the 2nd. And then I'm going to play 10, 8, 7 on the 2nd string. So the 4 triplets we should have are... We're going to borrow those other 2. So what I was doing there was 8, 7 on the 2nd, 9 of the 3rd. And then 7 of the 2nd, and then 9, 7 on the 3rd. So that's all exactly the same. But because we've started the bar with this, we've got 2 more triplets before the next part as well. So what I'm doing here is I'm playing 9, 7, 6 on the 3rd, then 7, 6 again on the 3rd, and jumping to 9 of the 4th. So we got... Then from that point, I'm just working up the scale. It's really quite pleasant to play. I'm going to play 7, 9 on the 4th, then I'm going to play 6, 7, 9 on the 3rd, and 7, 8, 10 on the 2nd. At that point, I'm going to play 7 of the 1st string, and then play 10, 8, 7 on the 2nd. I think this all sort of still has that cheeky triplet pulse. So let's have a look at what we've got thus far from the triplet idea. Okay, hopefully that's making sense. And then I've got... That's the end of the section. So I'm going to do a cheeky pull off here. I'm playing 8 to 7 on the 2nd string, jumping to 9 of the 3rd, and then I go... So that's just working up the scale. I'm playing 7, 8, 10 on the 2nd again, and then playing 7 of the 1st, and then 10, 8 on the 2nd string. So it goes... I'm going to put the cheeky pull off in front of that now. Then at the end of that, I've got a really quick triplet here, playing 10, 8, 7 on the 2nd as legato, and then ending on 9 of the 3rd. So it's a little bit out of characteristic for just the timing that's happening, but it's a nice little surprise. Let's have a look at what we've got thus far from the start of the section at a gentlemanly pace, and then we'll do it again even slower with some tabs. One more time with some tabs. Okay, let's have a look at the fourth section. I'm going to start off with a couple of cheeky bends from the 9th fret of the 3rd string. So I've got 4 in a row, and then I'm going to bend it to the top and do 3 triplets from there. So I'm going to go bend, and I go pineapple, 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 and at the end of that, the last triplet of that bar, I'm going to hit the 9 bend at the top, bring it down, pull off to 7, and then jump to 9 of the 4th string. So this is what we should have. 1, 2, 3, 4, then the triplets. At the end of that, I'm going to play 7 of the 3rd string. Then I work into this phrase. So I'm going to slide into 9 of the 4th string and then play a cheeky double stop on 7 of the 2nd and the 3rd string. And I want to do that double stop idea twice. So I'm going to do that 3 times. And as you go through it, what I like about it is kind of the emphasis changes, even though the phrase is the same. It sort of changes the emphasis, which I think is quite delightful. It does it one more time, but with only 1 double stop. At the end of that, I've got 2 bends from 10 of the 2nd string. So I've got... Okay. After that, I work into this phrase. So let's slow that down. From that bend, another bend from 10 of the 2nd string. So we've done the 2 at the end of the last bar. I'm going to bend the 10 up and then hit it again at the top and bring it down into a pull off to 7. Then I jump to 9 of the 3rd string, so still a bit pentatonic-y. Then I work into this phrase. Let's slow that down. I'm going to play 7, 8 on the 2nd string, and then I want to do a hammer on 7, 8, 7 into a pull off on the 2nd string. So it's going to go like this. At the end of that, just down the pentatonic, I was playing 9, 7 on the 3rd, 9 of the 4th, and then back to 7 of the 3rd. And then at the end of that, I'm going to have 2 leading notes into the pentatonic run, playing 9 of the 4th, 7 of the 3rd. All right, let's go from the start of the section, and then we'll do the last chunk to finish it off. So we've got... Okay, then the next thing I've got... Sorry. Silly Christopher. Anyway, so I'm just working down the pentatonic in triplets. I'm going to play 9, 7 on the 3rd string, and then jump back to 7 of the 3rd and play 9, 7 on the 4th. So we're going to have this. And an identical relationship between the 4th and the 5th string. I'm going to play 9, 7 on the 4th and 9 of the 5th. And then I'm going to play 7 of the 4th and 9, 7 on the 5th. So we're going to have this. At the end of that, there's going to be 2 more triplets. I'm going to play 9, 7, 5 on the 5th, and then 9, 7 on the 5th, and then 7 on the 6th string. So we're going 9, 7, 5, 7, 5, and then 7 on the top. And at the end of that, I'm just resolving to 5 of the 5th string, and then I sort of start sliding over to get myself prepared for section 5. So it doesn't really matter where you're in. It'll do all of that stuff in section 5. So just sort of get yourself ready for that. So this is going to be our triplet idea from the pentatonics to finish off section 4. And and so on and so forth. Let's go right back to the start of the section, play it at a gentleman's pace, and then do it again even slower with some tabs. One more time with some tabs. Alright guys, let's have a look at the fifth section. I want to start off with a pull off from 15 to 12 on the first string, and then I'm going to be rolling my flat pointer to 12 of the second. At the end of that, I'm just going to hit another 12 on the first string. Okay, so I've got a group of 4 there, and then I'm going to have 2 groups of 6. So let's go over this 6-note group that I have here. I'm pulling off 15 to 12 on the first, and 14 to 12 on the first. And then I'm doing the same flat finger again from 12 of the second to 12 of the first. So we're going to have a group of 4, and then a group of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to repeat that, that 6-note group again. So it's kind of like the same kind of pulse as that lick we had before. So I'm going to have this. It's going to be exactly the same thing over 2 bars. 4, 6, 6, 4, 6, 6. Then I work into this phrase. So this is just a 4-note arpeggio played 8 times in a row. Nice and simple. It's a D major, if you're curious. I'm doing a pull-off from what could be a B minor 7. Who knows? Who knows where the top of that triad goes? So what I've got is a pull-off from 17 to 14 on the first string. Then I play 15 of the second and jump back to 14 of the first. And I just want to do those 4 notes 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now very similar phrase to what we had on the first chunk. Group of 4, 2 groups of 6. Group of 4, 2 groups of 6. This kind of reminds me of that little chunk in the Trooper. But we'll leave that for later. Anyway, so we're going to start off with the 4-note group doing this. Very similar phrasing to what we just had over there. I'm pulling off 19 to 15 of the first, playing 17 of the second, and jumping back to 15 of the first string. Now for the 6-note group, I'm going to do a pull off from 19 to 15 and then 17 to 15. The last 2 notes are obviously going to be that 17 on the second and 15 again. So we'll do the 4-note group, and the 6-note group, and the 6-note group again. And that's going to go for 2 bars. So hopefully that all makes sense. Let's have a look at what we've got thus far. Hopefully that's making sense. And then I'm going to end on an F sharp minor arpeggio. I'm playing 21, 17 here as a pull off, and then I jump to 19 of the second, and then play 17 of the first, and there's going to be 8 there. So in a way, you've kind of got the first and the third group doing the 4, 6, 6 thing, and then the second and the fourth is just doing the 8 groups of 4. Hopefully that makes sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to play the whole section again at a gentlemanly pace, and then we'll do it again even slower with some tabs. One more time with some tabs. Alright guys, let's have a look at the 6th section. I know we're getting quite close to the end, so that's very exciting. We're going to do 4 bends from 22 of the first string. They've got sort of a quarter pulse, and then we're going to go for a triplet quarter note crotchet pulse. So I'm going to have sort of 4 slowish bends, and it's going to speed up for 3. I'm going to add one more bend to that, but then I'm going to hit it again at the top and bring it down. And then go back to 19 on the first string. So this is what we should have from the start of the section. At the end of that, a really long triplet run. So what we're going to do is we're going to break it up into groups of 4 triplets. I want to start off by playing 22, 20, 19 on the first string. I'm going to repeat the 20, 19 on the first, and then go to 22 of the second. So we're going to go. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to play 19 of the first, and then 22 to 20 on the second. And then all on the second string, 22, 20, 19. So this is the 4 triplets we should have. Okay, let's have a look at the next 4 triplets. Let's slow that down. I'm going to play 20 to 19 on the second string and jump to 21 of the third. Then I'm going to play 19 of the second and 21, 19 on the third string. So we're going to go. The next 2 I'm going to do are all going to be on the third string, and then that will carry for quite a long time for the next section as well. So I'm going to play 21, 19 to 18, and then 19, 18, 16. So let's have a look at the most recent 4 triplets. Now let's join that together from the start. We should have 8 triplets now. Hopefully that's making sense. Then I work into this. So all on the same string, I'm going to play 18, 16, 14, then 16, 14, 12, 14, 12, 11, 12, 11, 9. Now we should have 12 triplets. Okay, now the last little bit goes. So we're going to have sort of 2 triplets here. What I'm doing here is I'm playing 11, 9 to 7. And then I'm going to pull off from 9 to 7 on the third and jump to 9 of the fourth. At the end of that, I'm going to play 7 vibratoed, and then I'm going to hit it 2 more times on the third string. At the end of that, I've just got a bunch of bends from 9. It goes like this. So we're going to have 5 bends all together. We're just going to have a long, slow bend on the third. It's going to go up and down, and then I'm going to have 2 quick ups at the end. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we work into the last section from there. So let's go right back to the start of the section from the 21 bends, play the whole thing at a gentleman's pace, and then we'll do it again even slower with some tabs. One more time with some tabs. Alright guys, last section, we're going to start off with a bend on 10 of the second string. And then I'm going to bend it again and then do a quick pull off from 10 to 7. So we're going to have that single bend at the start. We're going to have the bend from 10 again and then do the cheeky pull off. And we're actually going to do that idea 7 times. So we're going to go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we go into this sort of classic, sort of Ride the Lightning, Kill 'em All style run. So very characteristically hammetty. I'm going to start off with this little group of 6. What I'm doing here is a pull off around the B minor pentatonic, 10 to 7 on the first and the second string. And then I want to jump to 9 of the third and then play 7 of the second. Then I'm going to do another group of 6. I'm going to play 10-7 on the second string as a pull off, 9-7 on the third. Then I want to play 9 of the fourth into 7 of the third string. So we've got both groups of 6 back to back. At the end of that, just a group of 4 to finish off the bar. So I'm playing 9-7 as a pull off on the third and fourth string. Hopefully that's making sense. Then I work into this phrase. Let's slow that down. I'm going to play 7 of the 4th string, then do a pull off from 9 to 7, and then pull off 9, 7 on the 5th string, but slide to 5. So all together of that new chunk. Okay, then I work into this phrase. Let's slow that down. I'm going to do a pull off from 7 to 5 on the 5th, jump to 7 of the 6th, and then play 5 of the 5th again. At the end of that, cheeky grace slide from 7 to 9 on the 5th, and then I want to play 7, 9 on the 4th. Let's have a look what we've got thus far. Okay, and then at the end of that, we're going to work into this phrase. Okay, so let's have a look at it from when we go to that slide. I was sliding into 12 of the 4th string and then playing 9, 11 on the 3rd. Then I want to slide to 14 of the 3rd string and play 12 of the 2nd. At the end of that, I'm going to do a quick pull off from 13 to 12 on the 2nd string, hit 14 of the 3rd string, and then back to 12 of the 2nd. So I got, at the end of that, I'm going to play 15 of the 2nd string and then 12, 15 of the 1st, and that's getting kind of E minor pentatonic-y positioned. I don't know why he thinks he can get away with it, but he does. So we've got, after that, we've definitely seen this phrase in the B minor pentatonic box. I'm just doing it over here in E now. So I'm pulling off 15 to 12 of the 1st string, playing 15 of the 2nd, and then going back to 12 of the 1st. That's going to be my group of 4. And then I'm going to do 2 pull-offs from 15 to 12, then jump up a string, and then back down again. So we're going to have that group of 4 and the 2 groups of 6, but this is only for 1 bar. At the end of that, I'm just going to do this cheeky little double stop, playing 15 of the 2nd and 14 of the 3rd. We're going to bend that 14 of the 3rd up, and this is just going to be on the beat, crotchet, sort of quarter note things. So we're going to go like this. And that's the whole section. The whole solo, rather. At this point, it basically fades into nothingness. So this is kind of the last sort of audible piece of solo there is on the song. Let's go right back to the start of the section, played at a gentlemanly pace, and then again, even slow with some tabs. One more time with some tabs. And that was the outro solo to Fade to Black, a delightful classic, really close to my heart. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and please click the links in the description box to my Facebook and my Patreon. I'll catch you guys all very soon.